Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Frankie Miranda, and I'm the president and CEO of the Hispanic Federation. And we're here with a group of organizations from across the country as part of a delegation of 130 Latino nonprofit organizations that are getting ready to visit and pay visits to all members of Congress, many members of Congress, to talk about the Latino agenda, something that right now we want to make sure that in the last 9 weeks of this new administration, making sure that the Latino agenda, the real Latino agenda, is present in the mind of everybody here in Congress as they continue to make decisions that had nothing to do with improving the lives of our most vulnerable communities. And I want to introduce Representative Maxwell Frost, that is not only helping us to be here, but he has continued to be an incredible champion of our community. Congressman Maxwell.
Thank you. Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm Maxwell Alejandro Frost. I'm honored to be here today. Proud to be the first Afro-Cubano in the United States Congress and represent Central Florida. I stand here with you not just as a congressman, but also as the son of an immigrant. My mother left Cuba as a refugee in the late 1960s, and we know the struggle and the resilience and unwavering spirit of the Latino community across the entire country. We're here today because our Latino communities are under attack, not just from hateful rhetoric, but also from policies that are designed to tear families apart, that are designed to strip away economic security, that are designed to erase the contributions that Latinos have done and given to this nation. The latest Republican budget slashes at least nearly $1 trillion from Medicaid, threatening health care for millions of people, many of whom are our Latino neighbors across the entire country. It fuels Trump's mass deportation plan, which would devastate our economy by gutting agricultural workforce and driving up food prices for everyone. These attacks are deliberate. They're cruel, and they're a betrayal of the values this country claims to stand for. We saw that this election, the economy was the #1 concern of voters across this entire country. Yet instead of addressing skyrocketing housing costs, the cost of groceries, the cost that families are facing when they go to pay for medicine, have to choose between medicine and rent, Donald Trump is looking at revoking the legal status of over 530,000 people, including Cubans, Haitians, people from Nicaragua and Venezuela who now will face deportation. These are our neighbors, our co-workers, our friends, and our loved ones. In my own district, I hear from families every day who are terrified, mothers who are afraid to send their children to school, older folks who are too scared to go to the doctor, and families fearful of even stepping into a place of worship. We also know that Latinos are disproportionately impacted by the climate crisis. I represent over 100,000 Puerto Ricans who came to my district after Hurricane Maria. They are the largest group of climate refugees in the entire nation, and they are Latino. All the issues that impact our communities, Donald Trump is doing nothing to fix, because these far-right authoritarians, these far-right neo-fascists do one thing and one thing only. They go to our communities and they want to have us think that the reason we can't pay our rent, that the reason that that one job isn't enough, the reason our children are dying due to gun violence on the streets is because of immigrants. It's because of trans people. But it's not the truth. It's a lie. It's because of the corrupt billionaires and huge corrupt corporations who have been leaving us crumbs, not for decades, but for generations. This country has never truly lived up to its promise. And I always think about that Barbara Jordan quote, "What the people want is simple, a country as great as its promise." Mass deportation is not the promise of this nation. Tearing families apart is not the promise of this nation. But making sure people have dignified work, no one understands the value of work more than Latino families in this country, by the way, which are starting small businesses at higher rates than other groups. Latinos, if they come to this country and they can't find a job, they make a job. That's what this country is supposed to be about. But we're being targeted. We're being targeted because they want to take out of the spotlight the billionaires like Elon Musk, who have completely made their wealth off of government subsidies. $8 million a day but they want to focus on the single mother getting $8 a day to help feed her family. We see right through these bigoted attacks on our community, and I'm proud to stand with the Hispanic Federation, with groups across the entire country, especially the Florida Hispanic Federation led by Laudy Campos and the amazing folks in Florida. Together we are fighting across the South and across this nation for Latino families. And even though our president believes that immigrants poison the blood of this nation, we know that we are the blood of this nation. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much. Another champion of our community. I want to introduce now Representative Chuy Garcia.
Thank you, Frankie, and of course, proud to stand with this delegation of the Hispanic Federation organizations throughout the country that are making themselves heard so that our community is not forgotten. Like Alejandro's mother, I came here to this country 60 years ago. I represent a working class district in Chicago where immigrants have to hold sometimes 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet and provide for their families. Nuestros vecinos trabajan duro, pero el gobierno de Trump les está fallando. That is what we want to emphasize. Trump promised to make life more affordable to people, but the truth is that only billionaires are benefiting from his agenda now, not working people. In my district, 26th Street, the main commercial artery of the Little Village community, has small businesses that are struggling with their families and to make ends meet. Tariffs will cost working families $1,500 to $2,000 and affect many small businesses that do business as it relates to imports from Mexico. Prices rise while wages stay the same. This isn't relief. This is robbery by the robber barons in our country. La verdad es que la economía no está funcionando para los y las trabajadoras. Trabajamos más, pero el dinero rinde menos. Now Trump wants to dismantle the Department of Education at a time when Latino students comprise almost 1 of 3 students in public schools across the country. In the city of Chicago, they comprise Latina and Latino students, half the population in public schools, for example. So we need to fight to defend public education because our children's future is at stake, and we've got to protect their right to a quality public education. Cutting education is not just bad policy, it's a deliberate choice to set our kids' future in jeopardy. It's not reform, it's sabotage. Our children deserve better. Nuestros niños y niñas merecen una educación pública de calidad. Por eso estamos aquí. Families are afraid to take their kids to school because ICE could be waiting. People have reduced their shopping. Businesses are thinking about closing. ICE raids are terrorizing our communities, and this is a show of the abuse of state power. I introduced the Protecting Sensitive Locations Act to keep ICE out of schools, out of clinics, out of churches. Why? Something's got to be sacred in our neighborhoods and across the country. No one should fear being detained while taking their child to school or to church. Nadie debe vivir con el temor por buscar ayuda o practicar su fe. We're not just fighting in Congress, we're educating and organizing. My virtual meeting last week in the district turned out over 10,000 people. That's the interest and the fear and the need that we are facing, pero estamos educando al pueblo. El pueblo conoce sus derechos y los sigue ejerciendo. My call today is that Latinos and Latinas don't give up. We're resilient and we take care of our people. That's why we're here. As members of Congress, we're pushing back against what the Trump attacks. But we need you to call your representatives in Congress, your senators, and to share know your rights information. It's important to speak up, show up, and organize. La lucha sigue y we will win this together. Thank you. Okay, Frankie.
Thank you. So today we're sending a strong message that we will not stand on the sidelines as DC makes decisions that will significantly impact our future. Engagement with our communities must be consistent. You will hear from the speakers who will follow me now about how DC policies are impacting communities across the country. But when it comes to our community, you can look at many of these narratives under an umbrella of two ideas: the role of Latinos in strengthening the national economy and the perils of disrespecting our community. Anyone who has been following the current state of our economy, it comes as no surprise that voters are deeply concerned about pocketbook issues. 3 polls that we held, the Hispanic Federation held, indicated that Latinos voted for the candidate that they felt better addressed economic concerns. But you will never know this by looking at the policy priorities that this White House and Congress have proposed in the last 9 weeks since the new administration took over. In fact, the policies that have moved forward, such as freezing the federal funds, targeting immigrant workers, have harmed the economy. Today, we find ourselves on the cusp of an economic downturn, and elected officials are ignoring the real mandate voters gave them: financial prosperity. We know from experience that whenever there is an economic downturn, the impact on the Latino community tends to be harsher and our recovery slower. Yet, Latinos make significant contributions to the economy, and without Latino entrepreneurs, professionals, and essential workers, the United States economy will be on an unimaginable shape. We know the contributions of our economy. We know that our GDP is valued in $3.4 million, that if we were an independent country, we will be larger, our economy will be larger than Germany and Japan. We know all of this data, but we need to continually meet with elected officials to make it abundantly clear that the Latino community has a strong voice, and policy priorities must continue to funding critical federal programs that invest in people, such as workforce development or expanding access to affordable health care and addressing cost of living. Today, I'm honored to be here on behalf of Latino community alongside our members and partner organizations to advocate for our community's concern. Hispanic Federation will continue working with our communities to grow our economy and political power so elected officials understand that no one can take advantage of our community. We are united, our voices will be heard, and I encourage everyone to visit HispanicFederation.org to take action. And now it is my honor to introduce an incredible leader from our city in Chicago, Karina Ayala-Bermejo, President and CEO of Instituto del Progreso Latino.
Thank you, Frankie. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you, the Hispanic Federation. We are here for one goal. It's to be united with all of the signs behind us. Those are truth. My name is Karina Ayala-Bermejo, and I have the honor of serving as President and CEO of Instituto del Progreso Latino. We are committed to ensure that all immigrants, that all Latinos reach their full potential, and we do that through education, training, employment, and legal services. Now, for decades, we have provided free immigrant and citizenship instruction, legal screenings, assistance with applications, and we helped over 30,000 individuals over the years. These are lawful permanent residents who've done all the right things, that are taking their steps towards becoming U.S. citizen, their and our dream. However, USCIS has recently informed us that they are freezing our grant. That has immediate and devastating impact on the families that we serve. It is resulting in potential layoffs, in the reallocation of services, cutting services. It is having us reconsider a fee-for-service model that we know is going to create a substantial financial barrier on families who merely seek to be able to fully participate in the U.S. democracy. It is without this support, not only will we cut programming, we're going to lay off dedicated staff who've worked with us for decades. It is not just an attack on Instituto. It is an attack on every single one of us. It is an attack on our democracy. It's an attack on the very community that provides and fuels the economy, that fuels the economic and cultural strengths of our country. Now, listen, the most proudest moments of my life were to come to this wonderful country, to go to the best schools, to get educated, to go to law school, and yes, become a naturalized citizen, and to watch my parents become naturalized citizens. We are educated, we are lawyers, we are leaders, we are not criminals. And we hope that with the voice of One Strong Hispanic Federation, we can push back hard on these illegal, unlawful policies, and we will continue to push hard on our mission and resolve, because we know that America is great when all individuals, including our immigrants, are part of that democracy. Thank you.
And now from North Carolina, another incredible leader, the co-executive director of the Carolina Migrant Network, Stefanía Arteaga.
Good morning, everybody. As Frankie mentioned, my name is Stefanía Arteaga. I am the co-founder and co-executive director of the Carolina Migrant Network. We are the only legal service providers in the Carolina to provide free legal representation of people detained. Since January 21st, our phones have been ringing off the hook. We have been receiving phone calls of family members who have had loved ones detained by ICE. These individuals are folks who have put their trust in the immigration legal system and have been failed. These are folks that have had work permits, pending applications, and humanitarian parole status who have hoped to make the United States home. Today, I want to share the story of Jay. Jay and his family fled his home country of Guatemala, sought asylum in the U.S., followed all the legal procedures, including filing their application before their one-year deadline. 2 weeks after the change of administration, ICE came to their home on a Saturday morning and detained him in front of his wife and 2 minor children. Despite having had done everything that was within his power to be able to fight his case, he now sits in a detention center miles away from home, states away from North Carolina, awaiting the uncertainty of what will happen not only to him, but his family. His wife and 2 minor children will now have to figure out how to pay rent, how to buy diapers and formula, because the head of the household is gone, because he put his faith and was hoping to have a fair chance. Jay's stories is not an anomaly. These are stories that we are hearing on the daily. This is part of a larger systematic failure and strategy by this administration to put people in deportation proceedings and use them as scapegoats. Just recently, our attorneys worked over the weekend to try to file asylum applications for people from Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, y Venezuela, who were given days after their humanitarian status was put on pause. We cannot ignore this. Latinos are being utilized as political pawns for the failures that we are seeing. People are hungry. People can't pay for rent. That's why we need this unity that we're seeing with the Hispanic Federation to reject the criminalization of our Latino community and focus on fighting back for better policies. Thank you.
Now, I want to call to the podium Melissa Marantes, Executive Director and co-founder of the Orlando Center for Justice.
Families and people of Florida count on us. Latinos, all Floridians are affected by these policies. The immigration enforcement being used today affects all of our Floridians. children protections are being affected, are being eroded. We've also had word as an organization, Orlando Center for Justice stands up for legal aid and help for immigrants, as well as being able to serve in our communities and help with advocacy to make a more welcoming Florida. We are seeing just the opposite today. There was funding to protect children in court so that no child could have to face the immigration system by themselves. That in itself has now put on the chopping block as one of the items that is going to be removed. Children age 4, 5, 6, trying to navigate a system alone that may have arrived here by themselves. It is unconscionable to imagine a child having to face that sort of system on their own. We stand as the largest state of TPS holders, over 295,000 people. These are business owners, workers, and even educators. And losing these numbers will affect our already struggling economy. You've heard it here today. Hay hambre. People are hungry. They're trying to feed their families. They're trying to maintain their housing, a major crisis that we have in Florida. When police are deputized to help ICE, it erodes the trust and safety in our communities. Imagine what it would do to tourism in Florida, one of our biggest areas. A tourist being picked up in error, or even a U.S. citizen. We are a community with a large Puerto Rican population. People being picked up in error would be a disaster. Imagine if a crime were to happen in a local community and the witnesses are scared to come forward. This is not what we need to make our communities more safe. To make our communities more safe, we need policies that are going to protect people and help make and grow their communication and their safety with our police and with our communities. We have tons of people with legal immigration processes, and those processes are pending. And now we must protect the constitutional rights that they have and the legal rights for all Latinos and all Floridians. Thank you.
And now I would like to invite to the podium Darryl Morin, National President and Chairman of the Board of Forward Latino.
Thank you so much, Frankie. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here this morning for this very, very important subject. As Frankie mentioned, my name is Darryl Morin, National President of Forward Latino, a nonpartisan, nonprofit service and advocacy organization operating in 29 states across the country. Today, I wanted to discuss a critical issue, both to our communities and to the United States economy. Anti-immigrant measures and pushback on DEI initiatives are not only driving acts of hate and discrimination, but are also straining an already overburdened United States workforce. At a time when we need everyone to fully participate in the system, we are seeing policy that block people from being able to work. Speak with any CEO and they will tell you one of the greatest challenges their businesses face is finding qualified and motivated workers to work in their places of business. The Bureau of Labor Statistics recently reported that for every job opening right now there is across the United States, there's only 0.9 individuals available to fill those positions. In my home state of Wisconsin, it's even more severe, 0.6 individuals available for each open job position. Consider this, 40% of all hired crop farm workers are unauthorized to work in the United States of America. Immigrants also make up 29% of all contractors and construction crews, 45% of meat packers, 51% of all dairy farm workers, and 15% of education and healthcare professionals. Economists unanimously agree, any reduction in our labor will dramatically accelerate inflation, directly leading to the increase of our everyday expenses, such as the price we pay for eggs and the price we pay for rent and on our mortgages. Let me be clear. To secure our nation's future, we need federal policy that prioritizes our nation's security, economy, and humanity. Thank you very much for coming out here this morning. God bless all of you, and may God bless those families which tonight will go to bed in fear that they'll be separated. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Again, our message is very clear. We're hoping that elected officials and everybody in this country will hear our call to their hearts and to understand that this is a humane issue. But if they are not open to hear this claim, We need to let them know that they are going to face economic uncertainty, that this is going to touch them, that instilling fear in our community, in our migrant community, demonizing Latinos, is going to create a ripple effect, and everybody will have to pay the price. So we're hoping that our elected officials are going to hear our call for action. We're going to continue meeting with them. We're going to continue speaking to the press and making sure that people hear how important our community, how important these organizations are serving millions of Americans, and they also have an incredible opportunity to provide economic mobility for many, many Americans. Thank you.